Bit of a late start to the morning. We were up early enough, but we had to wait for a washer and a dryer to be delivered out to the house. They just finished up. I'm on my way in to the track. Now, I told everybody, I gave them all fair warning. I want to inspect all the harness for Sunday. I want to make sure it's all perfect. I want to go over the equipment cards with everybody. I want to make sure they all have the right equipment on. So there's no screw-ups on Sunday because there's no time. You don't have time to check. And there is 28 now, not 29. Bluebird Tuxedo Hill, we did draw blood on him. His AST was high, which means he tied up a little bit in his prep training mile the other day. And I suspect, I know why, his white count was elevated also. So a little bit of sickness, from that guy, and he ended up tying up a little bit. So Bluebird Tuxedo Hill is off the menu. Off the list for Sunday. 28 more as of right now, Friday afternoon. All 28 of those remaining horses will be going postward. We submitted all the entries today for the race office. That draw will be done this afternoon. Now, yesterday, I was a little frustrated with Widespread Panic. I tried to be nice to him and take that chain off him because he had a little nick on his lip. And he absolutely run away with me. And my arms were literal rubber as we went to the half. And I thought maybe 57-1's a little hot, but maybe he'd be okay. And he fizzled out too. Fighting with me is just as bad as fighting with him. Both of us were tuckered out. And you might say to yourself, well, why would a horse do that? It's in his nature, right? It's in his nature to be a little hot. And it's in our nature to put the gear on him to help him with that. Now, as I said to Tim when we come off the track, I said, just remember, next time I say, hey, we'll race him without that chain in his mouth, make sure you remind me of today's date, because that will never happen again. So I was a little played out, but you know what? I thought my train of thought was simple. I don't want him throwing his head because that rub mark on his lip and making a break. Never break rule number 1 if you can at all times. And I didn't want to be going to the qualifiers with Widespread Panic next week. Had I thought he would be that rough in the mouth, and I should have remembered, had I known he'd be that bad, I never would have taken the chain off him. But listen, finished 4th. He doesn't have to qualify. And as I said to Tim after also, this is like 5 weeks in a row, and the first one was short notice after the qualifier, back to the qualifier from training. He's been going pretty hard for 4 or 5 weeks. Also showed a little bit of blood yesterday. I'm not shocked. A horse as hot as he is, as strong in the face as he can be, I am truly surprised he hasn't shown blood before now. So get him on Lasix, give him a week off, let him recuperate and relax, and then we'll race him the following week in Pennsylvania. Insider trading, huge update here. As I said in yesterday's video, I was literally going by the half thinking to myself, man, I wish it was 3 weeks ago I could just get this filly in full. She got a 2-year-old stake mark of 56. She's JL Cruz's sister. She's very, very well bred. She is a good-looking mare. And I don't think she's bad, but she's too good for us to race. She's worth more money as a mare than putting the tag on her in the condition claimer at Northfield. I could win that with her for sure, 2 or 3 times. And maybe get her back on track. But we already missed 2. Well, we will be missing 2 of the 4 stake races. She's not going to make any finals. Unfortunately, she doesn't get to be a stake filly this season. Not in the Pennsylvania Sire Stakes anyway. What are our options? Well, I called Jacob yesterday and I said, who would she cross okay to? Commercially speaking, if we were to get her in full to a top sire to breed her, who would it be? And is that sire available? Turns out there was one. We ended up finding a chimpanzee breeding to Insider Trading, and we are going to send Insider Trading directly to Kentucky. Now, she is going to be picked up today from Jacob, checked, had their reproductive vet check her on Sunday morning, and if we're extremely lucky and she's starting to ovulate, which Pull the Shoes did, which Stay Special did, it doesn't happen that way. Listen, I don't want to speak of her name because I don't want to jinx anything, but we do have a mare that's been bred since February and is not caught yet. Now, is it explainable? Yes, I suppose, scientifically. But it's still just nature not taking its course. So, Insider Trading will be bred, hopefully, to Jim Pansy this week. First of the week would be great. We might get one, maybe two cracks at her. And as I had said, I talked to Dr. Haley Moore this morning in Kentucky, who has some of our yearlings and mares down there, and weanlings. I said, it doesn't hurt to give her 3 weeks off to reset her anyway. So if I said, hey, you know what, we're not going to focus on the stakes, we're just going to focus on her as a racehorse and some of the added money events later on in the season that she's paid into, let's just pump the brakes. Let's just give her 2-3 weeks on the grass and let her relax. Well, we can do that. We can do all of that. We can give her the 2 or 3 weeks off in the grass and try and get her in full at the same time. Now, if she gets in full, awesome. If she doesn't get in full, fine. Let's go back to the track, get some work done. And I think that's the best plan and the best paths for Insider Trading. I think that's a very interesting sire for her also. So that's the way that's the route we're going to take with Insider Trading. Now, Great Bet, very disappointed with a break from Great Bet. You know what? One of our clients had messaged me and said his hobbles are too long. And listen, I thought they were too long too in the race, and I'd asked Dominic, hey, did you guys warm this horse up? Like, how did he feel on his hobbles? Now he's training down on 5/8. He went to Mohawk. He qualified. There's no issues at any of those venues, but a half is still a half. He said, no, Anthony. He said, I warmed him up. I buzzed him a last quarter. He seemed fine to me. There was no issues I felt in his gear. And there was one other point Patricia made, said his hobbles look low. Our hobbles will always low. The way I was trained to train horses, the centers of the hobbles, now some people think they should go straight across. That's not the way I was trained, not the way I was taught when I was young. They should hang down in the middle so that the hobbles are sitting on the horse's legs. And that's how our hobbles are going to be. So I know Patricia said they look low. Every single pacer we have is going to look low because that's how we race them. That's the way it is. And I can assure you the people that showed me, very, very qualified horsemen. If you're going to call our resume into account, that's fine. The people that taught me, world-class horse people. So, and not saying that any other way is wrong. You want to have them up, you want to have them straight across, fill your boots. You guys do what you want. But in the stable, in that barn, they're going to hang low. So, Great Bet. Although Dominic said he was fine and the hobbles, he did his job. Did everything he was supposed to do. The horse still did make a break. Fine, let's pull them in a couple of holes, if that's what it was. And we will go that route. But I get emails all the time. Oh, Dominic's not having any luck. Can we move the horse here? Dominic got all the garbage that we had to train back. That's what he had. All the mediocrity we had in the barn that we were hopeful for. I hope J-Port Beach Boy trains back good. I'd love to see him race good. I hope Did Not Know comes around and is a nice filly. I hope Mick Paisley qualifies and ends up being a stake horse. These are all hopes, though. None of those hopes are based on any sort of information. The reality of the situation was we gave him all the mediocrity to train back, and it didn't work out. And for anybody out there, even Dominic, who watches this, I got the same emails about Harry 3 years ago. Harry's not having any luck, and can Kevin get the horses? So, can you bring the horse up to the barn with you and Jason? We're not moving any horses around because of that. And I also got an email today, and a fair ball. Somebody said, Anthony, Yo Mister's 10-1 on Monday. Is there anywhere we can send this horse? Again, now you want to send horses away because Yo Mister raced terrible last week. He was sick. He drew the 7-hole in a class that he defeated soundly 2 starts back. He's 10-1. There's nothing you can do about it. He's 10-1 because he raced terrible last week. But that's the class he belongs in, and that's a class he's done well in the past. So no, and furthermore to that, and it was a fair question by Mitch. Fair question. The truth of the matter is, if he can't do in that class, he doesn't belong going anywhere. He can't do an open at the Meadows, Oak Grove, or Minnesota, or anywhere if he can't tangle with that crew. Those are good horses, but he's supposed to be a good horse too. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm not really in a big hurry to move any of the horses. Certainly not in a big hurry to move Yo Mister. Everybody thinks that Yo Mister just needs to go somewhere. And that's partially my fault because I tell you guys all the time, they go on the track at 10-1, they don't belong there. Well, in this case, he's 10-1 because of how he raced last week. If you rewound 3 weeks and put him in this class, he's 2-1 morning line and James is driving him, I would imagine. Anyway, it's a fair question and these are fair statements. I'm not attacking anybody, but we are going to stand behind the trainers we have. We're going to put good horses in their barn, and they're going to race good. You guys are understanding now. You can put a bad horse in the best barn in the world, and you know what? He's still a bad horse. Same goes for good horses. You show me good quality horse people and give them good quality horses, and you're going to get good quality results. That's the reality of the situation. So everybody just take a step back and understand what I just said, because there is no truer statement in horse racing than that. Texan Soprano raced good, but you got the outside post. You know Scotty's going to duck him. He has to. He can't go out of there with him. Did the right thing by the horse, run him through the inside and grab that last bone going through the wire. We hope for a better draw next week. Drebin, the highlight of the entire day. A really awful day, really. I was going to say mediocre, but I don't think that's a fair statement. A real awful day. Widespread panic, run away, poor fourth. Insider trading was flat as a pancake. Happens. Great bet makes a break. Texan Soprano drew the outside, got to run him through the inside. Collector makes a break. The only shining point in the entire day was Drebin. And the fact that James moved him getting in the last turn, which is super un-James-like, means that he probably has some faith in the horse. The horse looked good, 56, 28-3. And yes, Dominic trains him and has done and continues to do a wonderful job with this horse. He looked great last night. It's only a matter of time before he wins at 55 or 56. And furthermore to that, as green as he is and the gait that he has, you're going to see him get better and better and better and better and better. So I am very eager to see the future of Drebin unfold in front of my eyes. As I said, Collector made a break. I didn't see him make a break last week. They charted him with a break, but I certainly didn't see any break from Collector last week. What are you going to do? Argue with the judge? You say that judge is a bit of a stickler down there in Ohio. A little rough on the boys down there. So I don't know. I know that I didn't see the break from Collector, and I watched the whole race. I watched it again. I don't know what he got out of gear at the quarter pole, but geez, you'd have to. It's an awful stretch to call it a break, but it is in the purview of the judge to call it a break, I guess. So now he has to qualify. I'd said to, he's got this nice gait, but in training, the transition from training to racing can be totally different for some horses. And, there's a reason we had the weight and the bell boots and everything on Collector. And listen, Stacy and Brett do a great job. And I just think that maybe 2 steps back. Go back to a little bit heavier shoe on them, put the bell boots back on them, get flat lines on them, and then we can go back to maybe trying to lighten them up a little bit. And I think that goes without saying, and I think they know that also. So we'll get Collector qualified. Now, for the open house coming up on Sunday, as I said, we have 1 scratch, Bluebird Tuxedo Hill. His white count and his AST were a little bit high, so he can't go. But as of right now, we have 28 green lights. As of Friday afternoon, 28 horses that will be qualifying. Now, unfortunately, it looks like they'll be qualifying in the mud, or at least the rain. I'm so frustrated. This is the one thing, there's nothing you can do about it. We planned this for months and months in advance, and the 14 days, on the 14th day, I looked at the 14-day forecast. Sunny all day long, 24. 7 days, all the way up to the 7-day forecast. Sunny, 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 all the way up to yesterday. Chance of rain, sun might pop out, but it's going to be a nice day. I looked this morning, Friday morning, pouring rain all morning. Pouring rain. So the one thing about Cleveland is the weather changes very, very quickly, so hopefully it changes very quickly in our favor. We'll see how that plays out. Now today, Alley in the Clouds races. We got night racing at the Meadows. It'll be exciting. I like the night racing at the Meadows. Memory and Imagination. Do you? Yeah. Oh, cool. Memory and Imagination and Victory Blue Chip are our only 2 starters at the Meadows. One's in the Sire Stake racing for 72, and the other one's in the Stallion Series racing for 20. One is a very good chance, and the other one is an outside chance. Memory and Imagination is a good chance tonight. And we ducked TCI, I saw, which makes it good. TCI is arguably first or second, as of right now, the second best colt in North America behind Carl. Was the only one to defeat Carl last year and looked great doing it. Very, very good horse. So he is in with the other division. We ducked him with Memory and Imagination, luckily. So we'll get a crack at our crew with him. Don't talk about Bruno's in London tonight racing. James is driving Hallie and Bruno tonight, so good luck to him and them. Hallie, I'm very interested to see how she looks. I'm very happy with the way she raced last week. Felt a little bad that Jay couldn't drive the horses, but I can't list Jay when James is going to be in town. I didn't realize James was there. Dominic said, "Who do you want to drive?" "Hallie, what do you think?" And I said, I I don't know. What do you think? And he goes, well, Jay drove them, but James is going to be in town. I said, well, you're going to have to put James on the horse. So I kind of felt bad for Jay. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. And then tonight, big day of racing today. Hallie's got a shot. Memory and Imagination's got a shot. Spitfire Overseas races tonight. The allocated 9-hole in the Open. We'll see how he does. And then also we have Jake. Yeah. And we have JK Victory Racing. A big night tonight. And then tomorrow we Kings County, Tactical Landing, Renegade Gypsy. I'm Fancy Like. Lots coming up. Some stake racing Monday, Blanton's Blue. The one horse we may have to move is Brace for Landing. Horse frustrates me. Anyway, I appreciate everybody. Listen, all your emails are helpful. I understand where you're coming from with a lot of them. Don't worry about a thing. We'll get it all squared away. With the horses, this is always constant ebb and flow. There's constant movement in the stable all the time. We'll get this squared away for everybody. So, that is it for today, I believe. So far, I talked about insider trading. It's going to be bred to Chimpanzee. See if we luck out and get her in full. The odds are... Jeepers. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. The odds are not in our favor to get her in full. That's truthful, right? Literally coming off the track, 2 cracks at getting her bred. The odds are not in our favor, but you know what? Industry's always built on odds, and the long shots win sometimes. So we'll see if we can get our girl insider trading in full. Great bet. Don't worry. We'll pull the hobbles back in and get him rolling again next week. He does not have to qualify, although Collector does. Very happy with Drebin, Texong Soprano, and as I said, 1 scratch so far for the open house, and that is Bluebird Tuxedo Hill. So that is that. I will talk to you all very soon. I hope you're having a great Friday. It is a nice Friday, beautiful day. I just hope this rain stays away for Sunday. Everybody, cross your fingers. Take care.